Are you running out of time or just in time? Have you seen the movie In Time? Starring Justin Timberlake, Cillian Murphy, and Amanda Seyfried. So, if you haven't seen it, let me just give you the short version of the plot. And seriously, go watch it. It's really interesting because in this futuristic world, instead of currency, people pay with time. Okay? And the whole premise is that there are time zones. And when you turn 26, basically you have 1 year, you turn 25 and you have 1 year to live. And you're able to earn more time to live based on what work you put in. But in certain time zones, of course, they deliberately jack up the price of time every single time that they have taxes. It all comes out on the same day. And the reason, as you find out from this person, I think he's called Henry Hamilton or something, but everybody basically looks like they're 25 and you basically stay 25, but you are still aging in different years. So you don't age, but you only have as much time as you have, and it's actually on their arm. So the people in the lower districts are obviously, they're watching the clock like crazy because they only have so much time before they die. That's the thing. You run out of time, you die. And the premise of the movie is that this Henry Hamilton guy shows up in the really poor district and he's got a lot of time. He's in hundreds of, he's got a century or something like that, which in a world where you're going to die if you don't have time, he's basically a walking target. And so Justin Timberlake's character, he's you need to get out of here, man. You're a walking target. And he's yes. And he basically, his thing is he wants to die because he's 102. And he's when you live as long as I have, you realize that we're not meant to live forever. And it's all fleeting. More time doesn't mean anything. And then Justin Timberlake's character, I forget his name. I think it's Will. He's so I wouldn't waste time. If I had as much time as you, I wouldn't waste time. Because he had just lost his mother, played by Olivia Wilde. She didn't have enough time to get home, so she wasn't able to take the bus. And then she dies right into his arms. The premise of the movie is pretty good. And the idea in the end is you're not in trouble for stealing time. You're not in trouble for having lots of time. But if you give time away, that's messing up the system. And of course, they're messing up the system. So he teams up with Amanda Seyfried, and they're basically trying to go into all of the time banks and steal time back for all the lower districts so that people don't run out of time. But it got me thinking, because at the end of the movie, spoiler, it's they've got enough for a day. And they're you can do a lot in a day. And that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, we don't really have a currency of time, but anybody who understands the principles of success and knows what it takes to really invest and build something knows that you can either spend money or you can spend time. And the more money you make, the more you want to buy back your time. Because we do run out of time. So right now, I've put a lot of time into things that I want to build. I put time into my personal life and what I wanted to build. I put time into my kids because the result of that, of course, is that they're going to grow up and there's going to be that transaction of mom put a lot of time and love into me and I love mom because she loves me. Not I love mom because she bought me a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I know you love me because I spend time with you. I love you too. Anyway, I will go deeper with this, but I just wanted to touch on this because it's a curiosity of mine. The thought of you can do a lot in a day. I was thinking about that. It's like the thought of time and currency, because in that world, they could exchange time. So if the system was really working the way that it could have worked, those who had a lot more time to invest could have found somebody that was like really going to use that time wisely and invest in them. So the idea would be like, you'd get a day, and then at the end of that day, you'd want to have 24 hours left, so that when you woke up in the morning, the first thing you do is say, oh, I've got a day to go and put out as much value in the world as possible, so that people are going to want to reciprocate, and I'm going to help others who are running low on time so that they can have another day. And then basically that would inspire everybody to be kind and loving to other people instead of hoarding it all. Because if you've only really got a day, then what are you going to do with that day? What value are you going to be putting out in the world? Interesting thought, right? Except let me just put this to you. You do actually only have a day. Think about it. You could wake up tomorrow or you could not. Something could happen to you. So from now until the end of the day, what are you going to put out there of value for others? How are you going to spend your time? Are you going to waste it, or are you going to do something with it? Because the truth is that we all really only have a day. And a lot can be done in a day. We all have the same 24 hours. So yeah, the supernatural or sci-fi version of it is like you die at the end of the day. But really, you do. A new day starts and you are a new person. So maybe you didn't get everything done that you wanted to get done yesterday. But how are you going to do today? What value are you going to put out there? I mean, I just decided, it's like, you know what? This thought has been in my mind now for 2 days after watching that movie again, and I really want to put it out there, so I am. That's time that I'm putting in right now. You're watching this video. That's time. What are you taking away from it? Later today, I'm taking my daughter to a birthday party. That's time I'm spending with my daughter to take her to that party. Before that, I took her into the bath to wash her hair. I let her wash my hair. I let her brush my hair. That's time. When I take some rest for myself to recharge, that's time I'm choosing to spend. You can spend money or you can spend time. If you go and spend money on a bunch of gifts for your kids, especially since it's the holidays, is that all you're doing? They're not going to remember the gifts. I'm sorry, they're not. They're going to remember the time spent. That's what they're going to remember. In fact, this year, I was like, okay, kids, like, we have kind of a lean year. A lot of expenses came up, and we had to take care of that. And I was like, look, I can only get you one thing. And they wanted stocking stuffers. My daughter wanted a Sailor Moon one, and my son wanted Demon Slayer. They're little anime figurines. They're pretty well worth it. But it was almost $70 once you added the shipping and the taxes and everything per thing. I'm like, that's pretty much it. You'll get one more thing, and that's it. And they're like, okay. But then they also just wanted to open it up before December. They're like, no, we want to open them all up now. I'm like, but you're supposed to open them up one at a time. And they're like, yeah, but we just want to open them up now and have the fun now. I'm like, okay. So I let them. And a lot of people would be like, well, you just ruined the Christmas. No. There's other things that we do. They've got their Christmas presents early. They've already got them from me. They're going to get a whole bunch from other relatives. They really don't care. Because what they really wanted is the time with mom. So we do Christmas cookies. We do, like, there's the trees up. My son wanted to put the tree up. I said, look, I'm not going to be able to do that. It's like, it's okay. I want to decorate the tree this year, he said. So he's decorated the tree, and he's happy about that. And we've got movies to watch. Like, we just spend time together. So our Christmases, it's not gifts. And even last year, when I was just sharing with my true love, I realized something. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to spend this time. I'm going to spend this time. And I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to spend this time because I'm investing my time right now. Because that's important. It's like, that's what we've got. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to invest that time. And I went back and I listened to some of those messages and like, oh, right. That makes sense. We've got to put in the time now to do other things that we need to do to be able to invest in our future. And it makes sense. But I don't regret that time I spent. And I feel good about that. And like, it's just, even the time that I've spent on my business this year was not wasted. Maybe I didn't make as much as I wanted to make or what other people think I should make. I mean, I get that all the time too. But I'm putting in the work now. I'm putting in the time now so that that value exists. And the exchange will come back to me in some form. Put in the time. Decide what is important to you. Decide your priorities and put your time in for those things. We all have 24 hours in a day. Anyway, I gotta go. I have a phone call coming in. So I love you. And I'll be going into this a little bit deeper at some point. But go spend your time wisely. Namaste.